I met up with DeWayne from Dry Creek Wrangler School and was able to go inside the world of cowboy wisdom. So sit back and enjoy his story.
I hitchhiked as far as Jackson Hole. I had like $19.
And the real life wisdom he has from a cowboy perspective.
If I do this channel, if I do this, if I do this, I do that. And I help all these strangers and help all these other people. But I don't put any effort into being there for my kids. Or my wife suffers alone. Then I'm still a loser.
I gotta say now I'm with the man, right? I'm with DeWayne. So are these your?
No, this one and that Gruy out there are outside horses that Will's riding for money.
Okay. So he's breaking them or just getting them rode down?
Just getting them legged up from winter.
Okay.
That horse he's fully broke. You can tell he's just fat and out of shape. So he's just putting miles on him.
After you turn a horse out all winter, even the best ones can get pretty fresh.
Well, and it's not just fresh. I mean, so think about yourself. If you're an athlete, it's the end of your season. You go home and sit on the couch and watch TV all winter long. And then go in the gym and try to perform like you did at the end of last season. You're going to pull muscles, you're going to get sore, you're going to get hurt, you're going to be out of wind. So working horses that are off for the winter, come spring, you got to start getting them back into shape again. So,
you know, the old cowboys didn't even like them unless they bucked in the morning.
Yeah, well.
I'm not like that.
No, no. I don't bounce like I used to.
No.
We got to have everything ready to ride, in shape, edge off of them and everything for when school starts 1st of May.
So school starts, you mean the Wrangler School, right? So what do you do with that? What is Wrangler School?
Well, so wrangling, I mean, there's two general definitions of wrangling. You know, coming from a ranching background, you understand the wrangler on a ranch, and you don't see it so much these days, but in some of the big ranches you still do. He's a guy that's in charge of taking care of the horse herd for the cowboys. His job is not cows, it's the horses. Oh, you got her. Got her. The other definition of wrangler is a guy that works on a guest ranch, a dude ranch, that guides people out and keeps them from killing themselves on the horses. And so what we have here is a week-long school that we teach horsemanship. Kind of geared more towards young people who want to get into that lifestyle but don't have a background, don't have a place to start. And so it's a week long. We only take 5 students at a time, and we teach the instinct and communication with a horse. We do an in-depth saddle class. We do an in-depth bitting class. We talk about dietary issues, things that they probably won't have to face working for another outfit. But it's important. We deal with that, hoof care, stuff like, get them the basic foundation, get started in horsemanship.
So basic horsemanship, do you take them up in the mountains then? Or
yeah, up where the main horse herd is up on top. I'm leasing, a friend of mine's got a 2,000 acre ranch up there, and we ride it.
Any cow stuff with them?
Sometimes. He's got a cow herd, and so you know, we've got permission. We're allowed to kind of chouse them around. We try not to run any fat off of them.
Right.
But sometimes he'll call me and say, DeWayne, you know, if you guys want to move those into, you know, that other pasture down there, you're welcome to. And so we'll gather them up and push them.
That helps him too then.
It helps him too.
He doesn't have to go up there and do it. Yeah.
There we are.
What a beautiful valley here.
Oh man, and there's nowhere to look where you don't get a good view.
Yeah.
And the sunrises and sunsets are always just phenomenal.
Really nice.
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah, so
So you help him out teaching?
didn't have any experience prior.
Oh, okay.
I was a student last year, and he asked if I wanted to stick around, so I mean,
obviously had some knack to it.
Yeah, he saw something, so
yeah. Reading animals is really what it's all about, right? Reading the horse and paying attention to what they're doing, and if you have the kind of natural ability to do that, it makes things go a little quicker.
Yeah. So that's my bay mare there. I got her last year.
Yeah.
And a little bit of a project horse, but she's got a good handle on her. Just gotta remind her of that.
Right, of course.
She was a brood mare for a couple years, so.
So you kind of hold this place together, right?
I do, yeah. They couldn't run it without me.
No. So are you the one that do you do editing and stuff for?
Yeah, I mean, I do some of his videos, but we don't edit a whole lot.
Yeah, probably not. Yeah, it's when you're sitting down doing something like that, it's more of a conversation, isn't it? What you're doing, conversation with the camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But if he
I
needs
view it as
any-
a conversation because you're talking to the
I'm talking
people,
yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if he needs any editing, yeah, he brings it to me and we fix it up.
Yeah. Well, you get on enough horses, you can
You
read
can
them,
tell.
you can feel
Yeah.
them. I mean,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
like, oh, this horse is going to do something. I don't know what,
I was
but
sitting on a banjo string wrapped around a stick of dynamite,
exactly.
and I just don't ride bucking horses anymore.
I never did care for it. Like I said, my dad's he's the one that was always like the cowboy. I view it this way. My dad thinks of something like, it may not hurt, so let's try it. And I think of something like, this really could hurt, so let's figure out some other way to do it and make it safer. But
well, my neck is in really, really bad shape.
from
Life.
yeah,
Just, I mean, there's plates and screws. There's been major surgery, and
horse wrecks and stuff. Or?
yeah, that and a plane crash and a car wreck and rolling a motorhome off a mountain and just life.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep.
So if I land wrong, what for most folks would just be, well, that wasn't a good landing. For me, it's like it's over. I'm done.
Yeah.
And so I got these kids.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ride Mouse this year. He's a good, quiet horse.
Good idea.
And I'm like,
You
I
hearing
don't
this?
have anything to prove anymore.
You hearing this, Dad?
Yeah.
My dad's got a head injury from a horse accident.
Mhm.
Then he got another head injury 2 years ago, and then ripped his shoulder in half because a heifer ran over top of him while he was tagging a calf. Now he just hurt the other shoulder.
Well, if I act like a kid, if I act like
did she not?
if I act like a kid and get myself crippled or hurt, she'll beat me to death.
Yeah. So this is your.
This is my sanctum sanctorum right here.
Yeah.
This is where I do most of my videos. This is where I hide out from the world.
Oh man, that feels good.
Yeah.
It's always nice to have a wood stove going,
I
doesn't
spend
it?
a lot of time in here.
I'll bet.
Yeah.
Do you do your editing here too, or
That's
uploading?
Well, I'm working on my book.
Oh, you're writing
I'm
a
writing
book.
Yeah, I'm about a third of the way through it, and this is where I do all that.
All right. So, what's your book going to be about?
Basically, it's a literary version of the videos. So there's like stories from life, and then life lessons we can take from that story.
Can you sum up what you do in videos? I mean, what you make the videos about? It's just.
Well, basically, I got two different sides. I have the horsemanship side, just teaching horsemanship. And then the other side is we raised 7 kids. They're all grown and gone. Will's the youngest. But there's a lot of young people out there who did not have good raising, good training. They're kind of lost in life. So it's just, I try to put, some dad advice out there for, things that if I wasn't around and if I wasn't able to have told my children this, I would hope somebody would let them know, So that's what that side of things is.
I see. That's really cool because there is a massive amount of people, kids that don't really have the family life that we have experienced, right?
Right. And I'm gonna say this semi-carefully.
It's okay. Just say it however.
Okay. In the advice, especially for men world, there's a lot of stupid stuff on the internet.
Absolutely.
A lot of stupid stuff. And a lot of stuff that's not stupid, but it's out of balance. There's a lot of out of balance, So, I sit there and I watch this and I'm like, these kids they're only getting a tiny piece of it. And and I believe that most of the problems we have in life is caused by being out of balance one way or another. A guy is so narcissistic with his weightlifting and his fighting and his jiu-jitsu and everything he does, and he's just walking around with a swagger, and then some guys they're so soft, they're just so soft and they're so tender, and they just crumble and fall apart when something difficult happens or somebody looks at them cross-eyes. And I'm like, so I try to bring a balance. It's like, you know, you need to be the kind of guy that a punk will look at you and think twice about accosting you, but a baby will come up and instinctively trust you. My wife and I have been as poor as Job's turkey. I mean, there were times I had 7 kids in my annual income. There was one year.
So you had 7 children.
Well, I have 7 children. My wife and I, we've been married for 33 years. We'll be 34. I think it'll be 34 coming up.
Wow.
So yeah, no, we have 7 children. And I mean, I remember one year, our annual income was like $17,000 or $18,000. You know, we started this school 3 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. This is our 3rd year. We're just now beginning our 3rd year. When we started the school, I was riding for an outfit in Bandera, Texas, and I was making $11 an hour. And we were living in
an outfit being like what?
A dude ranch.
Dude ranch.
Yeah.
Got it. Mm-hmm.
And I had borrowed money from my best friend and had bought a little Class C, like a 97 Class C motorhome, and we were living in that, and I was making $11 an hour.
Okay.
When we started this. Now, people watch my videos, and they're like, and it's insane, all right? They're like, well, you know, if my dad had left me an inheritance of
I hear that all
thousands
the time,
of acres, you know, I would be successful too. I still don't own an acre. I don't own 1 acre of land. If I told you, and I'm not going to, all right? If I told you my bank account balance, you wouldn't believe me. You're like, there's got to be more than that. All right. I mean, I'm saying it's not. All right. For us, financial success, we're making more now than we have, you know, and we've got some irons in the fire, but they haven't paid off yet. But we're hoping eventually they will, because I've not lived an easy life. And then short of some miracle, I'm going way before my wife does. You know, so I'm working really hard at getting things so she's taken care of when I'm gone. All right, living the good life. Let's put it like that. Okay, for me, living the good life is that I have a good relationship with my God, and I'm making a difference in the lives of those around me. A good man, and you know, I've said this before. A good man is born to serve. We're not born to make money.
Right.
You know, we're born to serve. And for me, my definition when I see a man, a good man, how's he serving others? If he's just accumulating wealth and teaching other people to put all their focus and energy on accumulating wealth, I don't care how he defines his morality, but in the whole grand picture, that's not a good man.
Yeah.
Oh, Mama brought coffee. Come on in,
right.
baby.
Speaking speaking of that, we better let her in.
Yeah. That's a different pot.
Thank you.
I couldn't find the other one.
Oh, you mean? Oh, I don't know where it is. This is fine. This works. Yeah, I'll come dig them out. Can we take a break for a second?
Sorry to interrupt.
That's all right.
No problem. So you started in life. You started out in. You said you got married at 25.
Yeah.
And then you worked as a.
I've worked
as a guide, or
I've worked as everything.
As worked as everything. Huh?
Everything. And so let's see. When I got married, I was working at a fish cannery processing plant in Alaska. No. Yeah. Well, during that period, and then I was a cook in a steakhouse.
Where at? Where?
In Soldotna, Alaska.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's where my wife and I met. That's where we got married.
Really? She was
raised in Soldotna, Alaska.
Really?
Yeah.
And where Soldotna? I've never heard of that. Where's that at?
Well, if you look at a map of Alaska, so you've got the peninsula down here with Sitka and Juneau, and if you come up in the middle, it curves up, and then over here you've got the Aleutian chain that goes down to Hawaii. So if you go straight up in the middle, you have Anchorage, Alaska. If you come due south, there's a little peninsula that comes out, and Kenai, Soldotna, Homer, Seward, they're on that peninsula.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in the far south central Alaska. That's where she was raised.
So what brought you to Alaska? I mean, to
When I graduated high school, my dad's a preacher. He's passed now. But he had a little group on Kodiak Island had asked him to come up and help. And so he came to me, he said, I'm going to Alaska, and I just graduated high school. He said, you can stay here and work, you can go back to Kentucky and live on your granddad's farm, or you can follow me up. And so I said, well, I've never been to Alaska before, I'll go along. And that's how I first got to Alaska. So after my wife and I married, I'm the 7th generation of my family, born in Kentucky. And not long after we got married, she got pregnant. And so I said, well, I want my firstborn born in Kentucky too. So we moved back to Kentucky. And I worked at just nothing jobs. And so we moved down to Tennessee, and a friend of mine got me on a job in Livingston, Tennessee, got me on a job at a Berkline furniture factory making recliners. And it wasn't very long of that. Coffee's starting to perk. I love that sound.
yeah, it's starting to perk there.
And I was just there a short while, and I said, no, I'm not living my life like this. This is not me. I'm not being this. I'm not doing this. And so I found a ad in the back of Western Horseman magazine for an elk hunting outfit in Chalice, Idaho, that said, if you want to come out, we'll spend the summer, you work for us, and we'll teach you packing instead of pay. And I don't recommend this, all right? But so I sent my wife and my infant son to live with her dad in Hawaii.
Really?
And I took a duffel bag and a cardboard box with my saddle and everything in it, and took a bus part way, and then hitchhiked the rest of the way. Well, let me back up, okay? So when I first went to Chalice, the owner of the lodge talked to me, and I said, all right, I'm coming. I'll be here on such and such a day. So I took a Greyhound bus from Elizabethtown, Kentucky, and I wound up in like Twin Falls, Idaho, I think.
Oh, okay.
That's where the bus went, and they were going to come pick me up. Well, I got there, and my box that had my saddle bags, everything in it,
Didn't show up?
Didn't show up. And there was nobody there to pick me up. And so I sat around for a while, waiting, and nobody showed up. So I went to the counter, and I asked there at the bus station, I said, what road do I need to take to go to Chalice, Idaho? And she said, go that way. I said, okay. So I picked up my duffel bag and what I had, and I walked out on the road, and I started hitchhiking to Chalice. And I hitchhiked on into Chalice. So this was back in the day. This was way before cell phones or anything. Mm-hmm. So I got to Chalice, and I found a payphone, and I called the lodge. And it was night because it takes a long time to hitchhike, even back then. And the manager of the ranch says, man, I don't know who you are. He's like, the owner didn't tell me nothing about you.
Oh, no.
That's why I didn't come pick you. I don't know. I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
And he said, well, I'll come pick you up. He came pick me up, took me, and stuck me in a barn. Couldn't even go in the house. So I lay up on a table in the barn and found a canvas manny, put that over me and wrapped up in that. And so that was the beginning. It wasn't an auspicious beginning there.
No.
So then when I left there and went to Cody, I hitchhiked as far as Jackson Hole. I got as far as Jackson Hole the ride, and it was dark. So the road coming out of Jackson Hole going up into Yellowstone Park, I went out there and stood there till it was dark. So I walked down off the road and rolled my sleeping bag out under some trees there by the road and slept. And when the sun broke next morning, the birds and stuff, I woke up, rolled my sleeping bag up, walked back up on the road, and stood there with my thumb out. And I'd catch a ride, and somebody'd think, well, I'm going to here, and I'm going to here. It took me all day to get through the park. Well, out the east entrance of Yellowstone Park is Pahashka Teepee. It was one of Bill Cody's old hunt lodges, and it's kind of a resort now, and they had a bar. So I'm standing out in front of that bar with my thumb out.
Nothing. Then this beat up rattle trap pickup truck rolls up, pulls up. 2 cowboys get out and go in the bar. And I stand there for a minute and I'm like, what the heck with this, man? So I carried my stuff up on the porch and went in the bar. They were sitting there and I went up and sat down beside them. I said, are you guys from Cody? Yeah. Are you going back to Cody when you're done here? Yeah. Is there any way I can get a ride? Sure, man. Throw your stuff in the truck. So that's how I got into Cody.
Oh, okay.
And actually, I think I spent the night with those guys in their bunkhouse, and then the next day I went and found this campground I was talking about. So I spent my last money, $6 for that night. I had a supper. I bought that little tent. I bought, I don't know, a sandwich at a gas station, and then $6 because I was going to be with a shower. I wasn't going to become a homeless person. I was going to stay presentable, clean and neat. And I started calling. I started calling ranches, dude ranches, everything I could find. I started calling.
And this, what year are we talking here? What is that? Was in the
That was 30 years ago.
in the 80s?
That was so
30 would be
30.
around,
That was 31 years ago.
so around 990.
Yeah, 95,
Gotcha.
roughly.
Okay.
Roughly. And I didn't get anything. And so the really sweet lady that owned the campground, she come out and she said, if you'll police the campground and pick up cigarette butts, I'll give you a sandwich and a bowl of soup and let you stay for another night for free. So I picked up cigarette butts in the campground for a meal and another night to stay. And then she come next day, she said, my dad needs someone to help him haul hay. And so I went and hauled hay, helped him haul a load of hay, got $15. So I got another meal, paid another $6, another night to stay. And the next day, Dave Sweet was his name, super nice guy. He owned the Absaroka Mountain Lodge up the North Fork of the Shoshone River. And he called me back. And he came out, and we sat there at a picnic table at the campground, and he interviewed me, and we put all my stuff in his vehicle, and I got a job wrangling dudes at the Absaroka Mountain Lodge for $350 a month, room and board. I lived in the bunkhouse with 4 of the guys and got 3 meals a day. So that's how I started, and that's why I tell kids, that's why I tell guys, look, if you're not willing to do it in spite of all that, if a little adversity makes you call mom and say, I'm coming home, you didn't really want it that bad in the first place. So there's been a lot of ups and downs and in and outs and stuff between, that's 31 years ago. But if I had quit,
Right.
when I got to the bus station, they didn't pick me up. When I hitchhiked in the phone booth, he says, I have no idea who you are. The owner didn't even care enough to let me know you were coming.
Right.
If I had got offended and discouraged and quit, if she had said, if you'll pick up cigarette butts in this campground, I'll give you a bowl of soup and a sandwich. If I had said, I'm too good for that, I would not have this today.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it took 31 years from there to get here, but what I'm saying, you see at least a ghost of an image of what you want to be. This is what I want to be. This is what I want to do. And then you go do it. And if you quit that easy, you don't deserve it. And you never really wanted it that bad in the first place.
Yeah. We get everything so quickly, right? Everything's at your fingertips with phones and internet and everything.
Right.
That we view, we should just have what we want in super quickly.
Right.
And we forget how circumstances, getting through circumstances and growing like that, starting from the bottom. Rock bottom to a lot of people is not that. It's way above what you're talking about.
Yeah. And, it's just like starting this school. Well, let's go back. It's like starting the channel. This school came from the channel.
It did. So it went the other way.
Oh, the channel was first.
And so what made you want to start a YouTube channel?
So I was training horses, but I had a lot of time. And I'm like, you know what? I don't know why, and it doesn't make sense, but I love wrangling. I love wrangling dudes. It makes no sense. It does not fit my character at all, but I absolutely love it. And I've worked with a lot of young people who didn't have a clue, just did not have a clue. And I said, you know what? I'm going to start a channel, and I'm just going to start putting little videos out for young people who want to get into wrangling, but they don't really know what they're doing, just to encourage them and help them. I want to do that. And secondly, I want to leave a legacy for my grandkids. I want them to point at something when I'm going to say, that's Grandpa. You know?
Right.
But I told Deanna, I said, look, if I get a couple thousand subscribers in 2 or 3 years, man, I'll have hit the big time. I didn't know anything about monetizing.
Right.
I had 50,000, 60,000 subscribers, and a buddy said, you're monetizing that, right? I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like,
You can do that?
yeah. He said, they'll put ads on your videos and pay you. I'm like, I can make money from this? So no, I didn't have a clue. I wound up working on a pretty good sized ranch in Colorado in the San Luis Valley. And then I left there and went down to a guest ranch in Bandera, Texas. And the channel just exploded. It just exploded. And I got so many people got on there on the comments and said, if you'll start an actual physical school and teach this horsemanship stuff in person, I'll come. And I finally got so many of those that Deanna and I decided, well, let's start the school. I didn't have a dollar. Didn't have nothing. I had my big horse up on top. He's basically retired now. I had him, Boone. And then Biscuit, this dun you saw out here, I traded a pistol and a box of cigars for him.
Really?
And I had Jubilee was just a little filly, and I had her, but she was just a baby. That's all we had. I had my saddle. And met a fellow there in Texas. He said, I've got a little bit of land in Tennessee. If you want to come out and start the school, you can use that. I'm not doing anything with it. He had 5 acres. His brother had 6 acres next door, and the neighbor gave us permission. They had about 40 acres of field we could ride in. That's what we had. Like I said, we didn't have a dollar. We got a website built, and we opened up dates and started booking. We said, but you got to pay 50% down deposit to hold your spot. We would get a check in. Somebody would book, and we'd get a check in, and we'd go buy some cast iron. We'd go buy a head stall, you know. And so by the time the first student showed up, we had enough stuff together that we could actually hold the school. That's how we started. We had no land. We had no money. We had no investment. We just said, let's do it. Now, we might fail, but we might not. And all of this has grown out of that. Last year was our 2nd year. So we did our first year in Tennessee, and then last April we moved out here. And so I'm just leasing this place. And we've been fully booked for 2024 since last September.
Wow.
Booked up. And my wife has pages of people say, look, if anybody cancels, call me. So that's
how you got started.
That's how it did it.
Getting started, we go back to this too, because there's so many people that get into YouTube or something. Anything you get into, they're just like, well, oh man, I'm not making any money at it or whatever. And I think a lot of times when you put effort into trying to make money, you're not making something that people care about.
No, and my nephew, very sharp young man, he called me about a month ago, and he's very into firearms, the mechanical side, the safety side, very much into it. And he called me. He said, I want to start a channel. Your channel is extremely successful. Do you have any advice? And I told him, Jacob, there are a lot of firearms channels on YouTube. What do you have that none of them have? And he's like, I don't know. I said, you. I said, what does Hickok 45 have that nobody else has? I said, he has Hickok 45 himself. John Lovell, Warrior Poet, himself. Grand Thumb, his natural, authentic self. I said, don't look at everybody else's videos and say, that's how everybody does it. That's what I need to be. I said, the one thing you have that nobody else has is you. Get on there and be honest and be yourself. And that's where you start. So when we started the channel, people are like, well, you got to have music. You got to do these cuts. You got to do this. I said, no, I think I'll just be me. And if they don't like me, then I'll go do something else. And
I think one key, because I've been doing this for a couple of years, so I thought the same thing. You got to have, they edit the whole thing and make video cuts or music cuts and everything. And occasionally I'll put a little bit of music in the very first part of my video anymore, but mostly I don't even use it.
no,
But I think the key there is what you were doing actually focuses on helping somebody else, not you.
right.
And a lot of times when people start YouTube, I see they're trying to help themselves. It's like, hey, please watch this video.
Yeah.
Well, that's not about the people
It's not.
you gotta add value to somebody,
Right. And some encouragement, like, hey, we all start at the bottom. None of us are born knowing this stuff.
No.
None of us. And so it's okay. So the attitude that I've worked very hard to keep on the channel, that's been a big help too. There's enough conflict in this world without me adding to it. Now, I'm the only person I know, but I don't know many people on YouTube, okay? So that doesn't mean nothing. But I'm the only person I know that after as long as I've had this YouTube channel, and as big as this channel is, I monitor every comment that comes through. Everyone. And I police it. And I delete people all the time. I don't delete people for disagreeing with me.
Right.
All right. I just hate rude people.
Yeah. Yeah. If they're rude to somebody,
If they're if they're rude, if they're
I see.
belligerent, if they're obscene, it's just like, I don't need it. And so I keep the channel, I keep the comment section welcoming. And it's a lot of work.
It is.
But I didn't start that for me. I started that for the people who are watching it. And so I'm not going to let bullies come in and abuse and bully other commenters and make it ugly. I'm just not going to do it. So I had, I did that podcast with Brad Lee. I don't know if you saw it or not.
No, I saw a couple of short clips.
Okay.
Right.
So we went out and had cigars afterward. Man, I had a grand time with him. I mean, he's a good guy. Really good guy. So we went after we recorded after the podcast. We went out and had cigars at the cigar lounge. And he was surprised. He said, man, I don't monitor. I said, man, I monitor everything.
I read all of my comments.
Yeah,
In fact, that's where I get 99% of the information I get. Like,
Who needs what?
who needs what?
Yes.
Comes from reading the comments.
Yes.
Because if I don't read the comments, I would never know
Right.
even what people are getting from what I'm saying.
Exactly. If I don't read the comments, I won't know that something I said in a video wasn't clear.
Yes.
I need to come back and make that clear. I could have said that better so it made more sense.
Right.
That was pretty confusing. But yeah, if I don't read the comments, then I don't know. And so yeah, no, I read every comment that comes through. I don't answer them all.
No, I don't have time to answer. I couldn't.
No, I
There's
couldn't
no way
either.
I could. I can't type that fast. Now, I know a couple people. My wife and her sister have the fastest thumbs I have ever seen. But
Yeah.
I can't type that fast on a keyboard, much less on a phone. So I answer a few of them if if it's a direct question or something. But
Well, I do everything on my phone.
yeah,
Everything on my phone. So I discovered something magic on there. Oh, yeah, it's called talk to text.
my wife keeps trying to get me to do this.
Oh man, I mean these,
My thumbs just don't
Forget
want to
it.
work. No.
and that's why there's like, why is that comma there? That's because it's talk to text, man. Otherwise, I wouldn't answer anything.
Right. Right. Good.
But yeah,
Good.
No, it's as big as the channel is. I read every comment, everyone.
Oh, I'd love some coffee. Whoops. That happens sometimes.
It does.
So are you? You must be a coffee drinker, I'm guessing.
Oh man.
Yeah, me too.
We have our own coffee now.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. So we've been sponsored by Juniper Mountain Coffee,
Okay.
and we just put 2 ads out. We just launched a couple weeks ago, and they came to me and said, we want to create a new roast with your name on it. That's your roast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so we have Juniper Mountain Coffee has the Wrangler roast.
Oh,
And
cool.
so I think this is their regular camp cook. We've got more Wrangler roast on the way, but I drank the last of it yesterday.
Yeah.
But it's a dark roast, but it's roasted in such a way it still has all of the flavor and the smoothness and everything. It's not bitter and doesn't taste burnt.
I like I like smooth coffee that's dark and rich.
Yeah.
Which is hard to find. Usually if it's rich and dark, it's really bitter.
Yeah.
So this is what'd you say this was?
This is a Magnum Research BFR.
Look at that.
And
The
these are
size of
just
this.
standard 44. I've got some
These are standard 44. Okay.
I've got some hard cast hot loaded 44 mags over in the drawer, but I don't need them around here.
Right.
Look at that sight. Put a peep sight on
Look
it.
at that.
Yeah.
It's a peep sight and then a post front.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep. So it's a ghost ring on a pistol.
I see. That's cool. Very cool. Single action too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice setup there on with the holsters. That
I drew that out, designed that, and took it to a holster maker and had him build it for me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, Mama just called me in for lunch. You want a hamburger? Okay. Well, just just let me know what you come up with. Yeah, that's 2 of them. The original outside wall.
Oh, because they have stone.
Yeah, and this
And
was
then
built on later. So this is the original wall. It's 22 inches thick.
Wow. Look at that.
The
Yeah, that is so thick. That is cool.
I don't think that burger's big enough. Can you make me a bigger one?
Too,
That's
isn't
a
it?
wood fireplace, and then
That's
we've got
awesome, 'cause
2
I saw-
other fireplaces that are propane.
Okay, because I see the 4 chimneys outside.
Yeah, well, the
Look
former
at the
owner,
size of that burger.
the former owner put propane fireplace inserts because they were getting elderly.
Okay. So I had something unique the other day. First time I've ever had lamb burgers.
Oh yeah?
You ever had lamb
I don't
burgers?
think so.
Not really a common thing.
No. This is a homemade dip they make for the chips.
Oh.
I know you like the cold.
Mm-hmm.
That's all that's left. I may go to town this afternoon and get some more,
Okay.
because they're open today, they weren't open tomorrow.
Okay. All right.
What town do you go to?
Sheridan.
You go to Sheridan?
Yeah, we got a place where she gets raw. So all the ranchers, everybody lives in this area, drives to the bar to get their mail from the cluster boxes.
Mm. That's good.
So they are, I put the ground beef in, and then I put ketchup, seasoning, which is Montreal steak seasoning, Worcestershire,
Yeah.
the W
Whatever that is.
sauce,
Mm-hmm.
egg. Did I say ketchup?
When you put egg in
Kind
it
of
too?
like a meatloaf.
Egg and oats.
Kind of when you make a
It's kinda
meatloaf,
like a meatloaf.
that's pretty
Yeah.
much what it is, but not as much oats
You gotta try
as you
it.
would in meatloaf.
Dip? you
Yeah,
said?
that is mayploy, which is like a sweet and sour sauce.
What'd you say?
Mayploy.
Mayploy?
Yeah, Shelby, can you grab the mayploy out of the fridge
It's like
and
a
show him?
Thai sweet and sour sauce mixed with ranch dressing.
And then ranch dressing and sour cream.
I see.
I just want you to show him what it is.
Oh.
What is Mayploy? Oh, okay. Where do you get that?
Walmart.
Really?
Yeah, they sell it at Walmart.
Huh?
Yep.
So, did you cook this? Are you the cook around here?
She
is, but I made those.
I see.
Mom made the burgers. That's how I make them for the school, though.
Oh, okay.
I make a big batch every
Every week.
weekend, and we eat them every Friday.
So you just kind of have
We
a
eat right
big
here together as a family.
family meal and
Mhm. Every meal, unless we're out at the campfire,
okay.
we eat out there.
And you do this how many weeks a year? Is it
May, June, July, August, September. So 5 months,
every week?
pretty much.
We'll
We
take,
might
everyone's
take
gonna
a
take
week
a
off
week and
every
say, okay.
Right. Yeah, yeah. Recover.
We go
Right.
like 4
Yeah.
weeks and then take a week off, and then we did 5 weeks and took a week off, and then we did 6 weeks, took a week off, that kind of thing.
Okay. Well, we've had a great discussion talking about all kinds of stuff,
A
haven't we?
lot of stuff.
Yeah,
We covered a lot of ground.
I really appreciate it, DeWayne.
Well, I'm glad you came out. It was
All right.
good.